Samantha wiped the sweat from her brow, stepping outside from the dimly lit makeshift clinic in Pinecrest Hamlet. Her phone buzzed with a persistence that pulled her from her thoughts. The name on the screen, Gregory, sent a wave of unease through her. Dealing with him had never been easy. His calls rarely brought anything positive, yet there was always that small flicker of hope for a change. "Hello," Samantha answered cautiously, masking her emotions. "Samantha." Gregory's voice came through, feigning cheerfulness. "Just thought you'd want to know. I've sold the cabin up at Thunder Ridge." Samantha froze, the warmth of the sun now a distant sensation compared to the chill of his words. "You did what?" she asked, trying to maintain her composure. "Sold it," he stated again, as if it were the most mundane thing in the world. "It's for the greater good mine, of course." His laughter had an edge to it that set her teeth on edge. For as long as Samantha could recall, Gregory had been a source of disruption. Her mother married him when Samantha was just 16, his charm quickly masking a self-serving core. The cabin wasn't just any property, it was Samantha's haven. Nestled among the pines, it had been a retreat from her demanding job, a place for friends, and her personal sanctuary. That he spoke of it like a mere bargaining chip infuriated her. "You had no right," she retorted, her voice trembling slightly. "The cabin wasn't yours to sell." "Relax," Gregory drawled nonchalantly. "You're off doing your world-saving act. What's the point in clinging to something you barely use? Easy debt relief. You'll thank me later." "I'll thank you when pigs fly," Samantha snapped, hanging up as she tried to quell the storm brewing inside her. This was personal, a line he never should have crossed. What Gregory didn't realize was that the cabin ownership included her dearest friend, Olivia. Their mutual agreement required both their signatures for any sale, a fact she decided not to share with him just yet. Sitting on the edge of her cot, Samantha replayed the conversation in her mind. Gregory's audacity left her stunned. This was her emotional anchor, a place tied to cherished memories with her mom before life changed forever. His view of the cabin as a mere asset to exploit filled her with determination. She dialed Olivia, needing to hear the reassurance only her friend could offer. "Hey, Sam. What's going on?" Olivia's voice was a welcome sound. "Gregory sold the cabin," Samantha replied, unable to hide her anger. A pause, and then he did what? "He claims he needed to pay off some gambling debt. But we both know he has no authority without our consent," Samantha said, her resolve hardening. Olivia sighed. "He really thinks he can just do whatever suits him, doesn't he?" "Exactly. I need you to dig out our legal documents," Samantha instructed. "I'll handle this as soon as I wrap up my work here and return. We're not letting him win." "Don't worry, we'll sort this out," Olivia promised with determination. "I'm on it." As Samantha ended the call, a surprising sense of calm washed over her. Gregory believed he had the upper hand, but she was far from defeated. With a renewed sense of purpose, Samantha began preparing for the inevitable showdown that loomed ahead. As the stars began to dot the night sky above Cedarbrook Valley, Samantha resolved to finally confront the storm Gregory had stirred in her life. Far from being the naive teenager she once was, Samantha had grown into a resourceful woman, well-versed in law and surrounded by allies who shared her resolve. Gregory was about to learn how underestimated she'd felt for too long. Days evaporated as Samantha wrapped up her volunteer work, a tight coil of determination keeping her emotions in check. Yet, the image of Gregory's self-satisfied grin, imagining himself free of debt at her expense, was a shadow she couldn't chase away. Late one evening, with a deep breath, she turned to her journal. The pages, blank yet inviting, awaited the release of her tangled feelings. Writing had always been a balm, and she needed its clarity now more than ever. Memories cascaded onto the page, the first trips with her mom to the cabin, the painstaking renovations shared with her best friend Olivia, the tranquil nights by the hearth where time seemed to pause. This cabin was more than mere wood and stone. It was her safe harbor, not a commodity for Gregory's whims. The following day, Olivia's voice crackled through the phone, carrying both reassurance and resolve. "I checked the co-ownership agreement," Olivia began, her tone brisk with the information Samantha craved. "You're right," He had no authority. The sale's invalid. Relief surged through Samantha, but anger quickly followed. Do we know who he tried to sell it to? She asked. Not yet, Olivia responded, but I searched the county records. There's no official transfer. He probably tried to handle this under the table. That was Gregory to a T, always scheming, always looking for loopholes. What's our next move? Samantha inquired, her mind already racing with possibilities. Well, Olivia offered, we can either confront him directly or let the legal process do the work. Either way, he's got nothing. Samantha exhaled deeply, letting her gratitude flow through her next words. Thanks, Olivia. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd figure it out, Olivia assured, warmth infusing her voice. But you've always got me. With determination coursing through her, a game plan crystallized in Samantha's mind. She would return home, face Gregory, and dismantle his smug assumptions with her calm foresight, a weapon he never gave her credit for. He thought he'd sealed his victory, but he hadn't counted on her capacity to outmaneuver him. Upon arriving home, the cabin's stillness struck Samantha with an unfamiliar sense of foreboding. This place, once her sanctuary, now seemed to echo with silent judgment. The sight of wilting houseplants and accumulated mail only reinforced the chaos Gregory had tried to unleash. She set her bags down, feeling the weight of her unspoken stand. Before she could gather her thoughts, her phone buzzed. Gregory's number flashed on screen, time to face this head-on. Well, if it isn't my wandering stepdaughter, he drawled with feigned cheer. Finally back to the real world? What do you want, Gregory? Samantha cut in, all pleasantries discarded. Just making sure you aren't too torn up about the cabin, he gloated. No use crying over spilled milk now, is there? Samantha's jaw sat. Interesting you'd say that. She replied with a deliberate calm. Contrary to your assumption, it's not gone. Olivia and I checked. Without her consent, the sale's invalid. It's still legally ours. A pause on his end confirmed her words had struck deep. That's ridiculous, Gregory stammered. The buyer paid cash. Paperwork was all done. It's a finished deal. No, Gregory, Samantha insisted, her voice unwavering. Olivia and I both own it. Without her agreement, the sale is null. We're within our legal rights. His laugh was brittle. You think you're so clever, don't you? Always the perfect one, always in control. You have no idea how tough my life's been, Samantha. Samantha remained silent, the truth resonating clearer than ever. Gregory's estimation of her hadn't just been wrong, it had been his undoing. Samantha's heart raced as the memory of their tense exchange replayed in her mind. Confronting her stepfather, Gregory, had left her shaken yet strangely empowered. Years of manipulation and guilt had fallen by the wayside, and Samantha had finally stood her ground. The following morning, sunlight filtered through the kitchen window as Samantha sipped her coffee and reviewed the documents her friend, Olivia, had sent over. The co-ownership agreement regarding the cabin was unmistakable. Neither could sell without the other's written consent. Gregory's actions weren't just morally dubious, they were outright illegal. A sudden, sharp knock at the door disrupted her focus. There stood Gregory, wearing a smug expression that Samantha had grown all too familiar with. Mind if I come in? Gregory asked, but before Samantha could respond, he had already made himself comfortable in the living room. What do you want, Gregory? Samantha demanded, her patience wearing thin. Gregory's tone was dripping with condescension. Listen, Samantha, I know you're upset, but you have to see it from my side. I was desperate. The people I owed aren't exactly forgiving. Samantha raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. And stealing my property was your solution? Borrowing, Gregory corrected, as though it sounded more palatable. I plan to pay back every cent once my luck turned. A bitter laugh escaped Samantha. Your luck? You've gambled away money for years, Gregory, and it's never worked. Why should this time be different? Gregory shifted uncomfortably, but quickly regained his composure. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You're hardly there. What's the harm in letting someone else use it? Because it's mine, Samantha snapped back. Because it's my home. You don't decide what I value. And for your information, Olivia values it just as much. Your sale is invalid, and you know it. A flicker of fear crossed Gregory's face. You wouldn't go to the authorities, would you? You wouldn't ruin your stepfather, he asked, voice wavering. Samantha leaned forward, eyes locked on Gregory's. Try me. For the first time, Gregory faltered, muttering under his breath as he stormed out, trailing the door with a slam. Samantha sank back into her chair, heart pounding, yet the spark of triumph glowed brightly. Gregory was beginning to understand his usual tactics were obsolete. After Gregory's dramatic exit, Samantha called Olivia to update her. He showed up, Samantha began, pacing the room. Tried spinning a sob story about how he borrowed the cabin. Olivia laughed on the other end. Borrowed? Does he hear himself? What did you tell him? I made it clear the sale was invalid and that I'd go to the authorities if he pushed me. He seemed shaken, but knowing Gregory, he's already scheming his next move. Let him scheme, Olivia said firmly. The law's on our side. I contacted a lawyer to draft a formal cease and desist. If the buyer pops up again, we'll have a paper trail ready. Samantha nodded, Olivia's words grounding her. Thanks, Olivia. I really don't know where I'd be without you. You'd figure it out, Olivia reassured her. But we're in it together. Over the next few days, Samantha gathered all the evidence she could find. She scoured every document related to their co-ownership agreement, compiled screenshots of messages Gregory had sent, and even tracked down the real estate agent involved in the sale. When she reached out to the agent, her voice carried a note of strain. Look, I didn't know the full situation, she admitted. As the autumn leaves rustled softly outside her window, Samantha stared at her phone, a newfound determination blossoming within her. Her stepfather, Gregory, had underestimated her resilience, banking on her perceived passivity as a means to execute his deceitful plans. But now, with new information in hand, Samantha was ready to push back against his manipulations. Earlier that day, Samantha had reached out to the real estate agent caught in the middle of Gregory's scheme. The agent had been shocked to learn about the co-ownership when Samantha informed her. Gregory assured me he had all necessary permissions. Had I known you were involved, I wouldn't have touched the deal, the agent confessed, worry edging her voice. Thank you for clarifying, Samantha replied, keeping her tone steady. I don't want to drag you into this mess further, but your cooperation is essential. Can you confirm Gregory signed a loan? The agent sighed. Yes, Samantha, he did. The buyer hasn't paid fully yet because I flagged it due to some discrepancies. I can send you the documents if you need them. That would be helpful, Samantha noted, scribbling down the details. Hanging up, she felt invigorated. Gregory had expected her to remain uninvolved, but he was soon to learn how wrong he'd been. That evening, Samantha's phone buzzed with a call from her friend and legal companion, Olivia. The letter's ready, Olivia reported, satisfaction in her voice. We'll send it first thing tomorrow, and escalate if he tries anything else. Samantha could feel the tension releasing slightly, a hint of a smile forming after weeks of stress. Perfect, she said. It was the first time in ages she truly felt in command of the situation. Gregory had steamrolled over people for too long, but Samantha was poised to show him just how formidable she could be. The following morning, Samantha and Olivia finalized the cease and desist letter and dispatched it to Gregory. The message was blunt and direct. Any further attempts to claim the cabin or engage the buyer would lead to legal repercussions. Samantha imagined his reaction, likely a mix of shock and fury. For years, Gregory had relied on intimidation, but now faced an obstacle he couldn't just brush aside. Later, Samantha received the promised documents from the agent, including the sale agreement conspicuously bearing Gregory's signature. A sharp pang hit her stomach, mingling disgust with a steely determination. He hadn't merely crossed a boundary, he had obliterated it. As dusk settled, Samantha answered a call from Detective Vaughn, a diligent detective whom Olivia had contacted regarding the matter. Miss Klein, he began formally, I've examined the documents sent by you and Miss Brent. The sale was unauthorized. We can begin a formal investigation if you wish. Without a shred of doubt, Samantha responded, Yes, please proceed. We'll start by reaching out to the buyer to clarify the issue. If Gregory persists, we'll consider criminal charges for fraudulent misrepresentation, Detective Vaughn explained. Thank you, Detective. Let me know if you need anything further, Samantha replied as relief coursed through her. With the legal wheels now turning, there was no reverting. The next day, Baal stained Gregory's voice with anger laced with desperation. Do you realize what you've done, Samantha? You're ruining everything. No, Gregory, she calmly retorted. I'm protecting what's mine. You've set this course. You've always been ungrateful, he sneered. I supported you when your mother couldn't handle it. A dry laugh escaped Samantha. You didn't support us. You took over, you manipulated. Now you're facing the consequences. As he tried to argue, she interjected, This conversation is over. Take it up with my lawyer. She ended the call, heart pounding, fully aware that Gregory's dominance had come to an end. 2 days later, Detective Vaughn brought encouraging news. Miss Klein, we've spoken with the buyer. They've halted the transaction and are aware of the co-ownership. They're ready to cooperate. Relief flooded Samantha like a long-awaited dawn. That's fantastic. Does this void the sale? Yes, he confirmed. The cabin remains yours and Ms. Brent's. We'll keep the case open to address Gregory's fraudulent actions. Would you like to press charges? Pausing only for a moment, Samantha made a firm decision. Yes, he must be held accountable. Understood, the detective acknowledged, setting the stage for Samantha to reclaim her power and peace. Detective Vaughn's voice had been firm, offering assurance as he concluded the call. We'll handle everything from here. Thank you for your cooperation. Samantha leaned back in her chair, exhaling deeply. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, a sense of calm began to creep back into her life. Her childhood refuge, the cabin, was secure, and Gregory, her cunning stepfather, was finally facing the unraveling of his deceitful plans. Later that day, Samantha couldn't wait to call Olivia with the news. The sale is off. Officially voided, she announced, her voice filled with a mix of relief and triumph. The buyer's walking away, and the cabin's completely safe again. Olivia's joy was palpable through the phone. That's incredible, Samantha. But what about Gregory? What's happening there? She inquired. The investigation's progressing. He won't slip through this time, Samantha assured her, feeling the weight of years of torment beginning to lift. Finally, someone's standing up to him. It's about time, Olivia remarked. Her words echoed long after they ended the call, resonating with Samantha's newfound perspective. Gregory's manipulations, his entitled mindset, and his flouting of boundaries were confronted at last. This wasn't just reclaiming a cabin, it was a major turning point in Samantha's life approach, a bid for control that resonated deeply. That evening, Samantha made her way up to the cabin for the first time since starting this legal battle. As she stepped inside, emotions surged, enveloping her in warmth. The scent of cedar, the soft creak of the floorboards, all reminders of why this sanctuary held such meaning. She settled in by the fireplace, letting the serene mountain quietude surround her. This was her haven, where memories were made, milestones celebrated, and peace found amidst life's chaos. For the first time since this ordeal began, she allowed herself a genuine smile. She was reclaiming more than property, she was reclaiming herself. A week later, Detective Vaughn had more conclusive news. Miss Klein, your stepfather is being formally charged with fraud and attempted property theft. He'll need to appear in court, and given the collected evidence, we have a robust case. Samantha felt a swirl of emotions, relief, vindication, even a tinge of sadness for how things had turned out. Thank you for everything, Detective. You showed a great deal of courage, Vaughn replied. Facing family isn't easy, but you made the right choice. With the call ended, Samantha sat in quiet reflection, acknowledging the profound shift this confrontation had wrought. Gregory, while a toxic presence, had been ever present in her life. Now, Samantha was free from that shadow. The following day, Olivia joined Samantha at the cabin, a bottle of wine in tow to celebrate. They sat on the porch, gazing across the mountainous expanse, the scent of pine and earth invigorating the air. To freedom, Olivia toasted, raising her glass. and to never letting anyone take that away again. Samantha clinked her glass against hers, laughter bubbling up. To us. Conversation flowed, and Samantha realized how this struggle had changed her. She'd long chosen to sidestep conflict to preserve peace, especially with Gregory. But this time, she stood firm. It wasn't just a turning point in her dealings with Gregory, it was a new understanding of herself. Olivia's eyes met hers, warmth radiating through her words. This cabin isn't just a building. It's a testament to everything we've accomplished, something we've built together. Don't ever let anyone take that from you again. The depth of her words settled within her. This refuge was more than timber and stone. It symbolized her independence, resilience, and commitment to defending her values. That night by the fireplace, Samantha absorbed a peace she hadn't felt in years. Gregory's betrayal had pushed her to her limits, but had also revealed her strength. The cabin stood protected, her boundaries were intact, and for the first time in ages, she truly felt in control of her life. In the weeks following the resolution, life adopted a gentler rhythm. The cabin, once a battleground over Gregory's greed, was now her solace again. Each creak of timber, each rustle of the wind whispered reminders of what she'd fought for. Updates from Gregory were scarce after the charges, and when her mother, Helen, finally called, her voice wavered with hesitation. "You know how he gets, Samantha," she said. The morning greeted Samantha with a silence that felt both unsettling and liberating. Her mother's voice lingered in her mind, usually so ready to defend her husband, yet now void of any real conviction. For once, Samantha's assertion was met not with opposition, but with an understanding she had longed to receive. "You managed well, Samantha," her mother had admitted, the words hanging in the air with a gentle finality that spoke volumes. Samantha had responded with a calm assurance, "I really do think I've found my peace." And as she hung up the call, she realized just how true that was. Over the subsequent weekends, Samantha and her closest friend, Olivia, poured their energy into transforming the cabin. Each brushstroke was a declaration of independence, every nail driven a testament to resilience. The porch was painted anew, the roof patched up, wildflowers planted along the pathway. Each effort was a physical manifestation of Samantha's journey to reclaim her life. As they watched a sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple one evening, Olivia nudged Samantha gently. "So, what's the next adventure for you, Samantha? You've reclaimed the cabin and shown Gregory you can't be pushed around. What's on the horizon?" It took Samantha only a moment to respond, clarity resonating in her voice. "I'm going to continue doing what fulfills me, volunteering, traveling, living freely. But this time, I'm in control, and I won't let anyone dictate my narrative." Olivia lifted her glass with a smile, toasting to newfound freedom. In the days that followed, Samantha reflected deeply on the lessons this ordeal had imparted. It all transcended the cabin, reaching into the heart of her own self-realization. Gregory's behavior had long dictated her responses, governing how much she resisted or endured. But now Samantha understood her ability to establish and uphold boundaries, regardless of the discomfort it might cause those around her. The cabin stood as a monument to that personal growth, a vivid reminder that her peace and values were not for negotiation. On one of those evenings, the day's light faded behind the mountains, leaving the sky awash in a serene twilight. Samantha stood alone on the porch, breathing in the crisp, pine-tinged air. For the first time in many years, she felt genuinely at home, not just within the cabin's familiar walls, but within her own life.